Hello, friends. Welcome back to Easy English Biography. Today, we will learn about the life of one of the most creative people in modern history. He changed the world of technology. He helped create products that millions of people use every day. His name is Steve Jobs. You may know the iPhone, the iPad, or the Mac computer. But do you know the story behind the man who helped create them? Steve Jobs was not born rich. He faced many struggles in life. He failed many times. He was even removed from the company he created. But he never gave up. Today, you will learn about his childhood, his dreams, his failures, and his success. You will also learn some new English words along the way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the story of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco, California, in the United States. Before he was born, his biological parents decided that another family would raise him. Steve was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs. Adopted means being legally raised by parents who are not your biological parents. Paul and Clara loved Steve very much. They gave him a happy home and supported his dreams. As a child, Steve was very curious. Curious means wanting to learn or know more about something. He always asked questions. He wanted to know how things worked. His father taught him how to work with tools and repair machines. Young Steve loved taking things apart and putting them back together. He was especially interested in electronics. Electronics means devices that work with electricity, such as radios and computers. Even as a child, Steve thought differently from other people. However, school was not always easy for him. Steve was very smart, but he did not enjoy following rules. Sometimes he became bored in class. His teachers often found him difficult to control. But one teacher saw his talent and encouraged him to learn more. Sometimes, one person can change a life. As Steve grew older, his interest in technology became stronger. His family later moved to an area that would become famous as Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a place in California known for technology companies. This place changed Steve's future. One day, Steve met a boy named Steve Wozniak. The two Steves quickly became friends. They both loved electronics and inventions. Steve Wozniak was very good at building machines. Steve Jobs was very good at sharing ideas and inspiring people. Together, they became a powerful team. But something unexpected happened. After high school, Steve Jobs went to college. He attended Reed College in Oregon. However, college was expensive. Steve did not want his parents to spend all their savings on his education. Savings means money kept for future use. After only 6 months, Steve dropped out of college. Drop out means to leave school before finishing. Many people thought this was a mistake, but Steve continued learning in his own way. He attended classes that interested him. One class changed his life forever. It was a calligraphy class. Calligraphy is the art of beautiful handwriting. At that time, Steve had no idea how this class would help him in the future. Years later, the beautiful fonts on Apple computers came from that experience. Sometimes small decisions create big results. What happened next surprised everyone. After leaving college, Steve had very little money. He slept on friends' floors. He collected empty bottles to earn money. He even walked long distances to get free meals at a temple. Life was not easy, but hard times often teach important lessons. Steve learned to live simply. He learned that passion is more important than comfort.
Passion means a strong love for something. In the early 1970s, Steve traveled to India. He wanted to learn about spirituality and life. Spirituality means thinking deeply about life and inner peace. His journey changed how he saw the world.
He returned to America with new ideas and a different way of thinking. However, this was only the beginning. In 1976, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started a company in a garage. That company was called Apple. At first, they built computers by hand. They worked day and night. The garage was small, but their dreams were huge. Their first computer was called the Apple I. Soon they created the Apple II. The Apple II became very successful. Success means achieving something you worked hard for. Apple grew quickly. More people began using personal computers. Personal computer means a computer made for individual use. Before this, computers were mostly used by large companies. Steve wanted computers to be simple and beautiful. He believed technology should be easy for everyone. His ideas were different from many others, and people loved them. By the age of 30, Steve Jobs had become very rich and famous. Apple was now worth millions of dollars. Everything seemed perfect, but things were about to get much harder. As Apple became larger, problems began inside the company. Steve was very demanding. Demanding means expecting very high standards. Sometimes, employees found him difficult to work with. There were disagreements between Steve and other leaders. Disagreement means having different opinions. In 1985, something shocking happened. Steve Jobs was forced to leave Apple. The company he created removed him. Imagine building your dream company and then losing it. Steve felt heartbroken. Heartbroken means feeling extreme sadness. Many people thought his career was over, but that was not the end of the story. Later, Steve said that being fired from Apple was one of the best things that happened to him. Why? Because it gave him a new beginning. Failure can sometimes lead to greater success. Steve started a new company called Next. At the same time, he bought a small animation company. That company later became Pixar. Pixar created famous movies like Toy Story.
Animation means creating moving images or cartoons. Toy Story became a huge success. Steve Jobs was now successful again. He proved that failure does not define a person. Define means describe or determine who someone is. Meanwhile, Apple was struggling. The company was losing money. Its products were not exciting customers. Apple needed help, and then something incredible happened. In 1997, Apple bought NeXT. As part of the deal, Steve Jobs returned to Apple. The man who had been removed from the company was back. Many people were excited, but Apple was in trouble. Some people thought the company would fail. Steve had a difficult job. He needed to save Apple. First, he simplified the products. Simplify means to make something easier. He focused on quality instead of quantity. He wanted every product to be excellent. Then Apple introduced the iMac. People loved its design. Apple slowly became successful again, but Steve was not finished. He had bigger dreams. In 2001, Apple introduced the iPod. The iPod changed how people listened to music. Thousands of songs could fit into one small device. People around the world loved it. Soon after, Apple created iTunes. Buying music became easier than ever. However, this was only the beginning. In 2007, Steve Jobs stood on a stage and introduced something revolutionary. Revolutionary means causing a huge change. That product was the iPhone. The iPhone changed the world. It was a phone, a music player, and an internet device in one. Today, smartphones are everywhere. But at that time, the iPhone was very different. People were amazed. The iPhone became one of the most successful products in history. What happened next surprised everyone once again. Apple continued creating new products. The iPad changed the world of tablets. Mac computers became more popular. Apple stores opened around the world. Steve Jobs became famous for his presentations. Millions watched him speak. He wore simple clothes, a black turtleneck, jeans, and sneakers. His style became iconic. Iconic means widely recognized and remembered. People admired his creativity. Creativity means the ability to create new ideas. Steve always believed in thinking differently. One famous Apple message said, "Think different." These two words inspired millions of people. But behind the success, Steve faced another difficult challenge. In 2003, doctors discovered that Steve had cancer. Cancer is a serious disease in which abnormal cells grow in the body. This news changed his life. At first, Steve continued working. He loved Apple deeply. Even while sick, he worked on new ideas. His health became weaker over time. Weak means not strong. Still, he never stopped caring about his work. In 2005, Steve gave a famous speech at Stanford University. In that speech, he said, "Stay hungry. Stay foolish." He encouraged people to follow their dreams. He spoke about life, death, and courage. Courage means the ability to face fear. His speech inspired millions around the world. Steve believed life is short. He believed people should do what they truly love. This message continues to inspire people today, but sadly, his health continued to decline. Decline means to become worse over time. On October 5, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away at the age of 56. People around the world felt sad. Many leaders praised him. Praised means expressed admiration or approval. Millions remembered his inventions and ideas. Even today, Steve Jobs remains one of the most influential people in history. Influential means having the power to affect others. His products changed technology. His ideas changed business. His story changed lives. So, what can we learn from Steve Jobs? First, follow your passion. Steve loved technology from childhood. That passion guided his life. Second, never fear failure. Being removed from Apple could have ended his career. Instead, it became a new beginning. Third, keep learning. Even a calligraphy class changed history. You never know which skill will help you in the future. Fourth, think differently. Sometimes the world changes because one person sees things differently. And finally, never give up. Success does not come easily. There will be obstacles. Obstacle means something that blocks your progress. There will be failures. There will be difficult times. But if you continue moving forward, amazing things can happen. The story of Steve Jobs teaches us that life is full of surprises. A boy who was adopted became one of the greatest innovators in history. Innovator means someone who creates new ideas or products. He faced rejection, failure, and illness, yet he changed the world. And remember, your story is still being written. No matter where you come from, your dreams matter. Keep learning, keep improving. And believe in yourself. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, listen again and practice the new words. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.